So anyway, it's a pleasure to introduce Don and have him actually be here all day. That's awesome. The whole meeting. That's good to have you. Just take all the beating that you can now, because you won't be doing this again, will you? Well, wait till I read your intro. Don Shafer has resided in the Peoria area since graduation from Illinois State back in December of 1976. He has worked the majority of his 48-year business career in banking and financial services. Don has served a variety of capacities on boards of several community-based organizations, including Alumni Association Board of his alma mater for 20 years, and has volunteered for various charitable entities in the Peoria region. Don was honored with the Tom Connor Community Service Award for the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce in 2018. He currently serves on the Arts Partners Board, the Dirksen Congressional Center Board, Passage to India Board, the Illinois State University Economics Department Advisory Board, and the Al Hooks Black Leadership Initiative Board, and the University of Illinois College of Medicine Peoria Dean's Advisory Council. Don is an R85 member of the Rotary Club of Peoria-North. His current role at Illinois Central College is an executive director of the IT Workforce Accelerator. We know why you leave early every day now. You got a board meeting to attend. Program manager, he's the IT Workforce Accelerator program managing a federal grant to provide no-cost training in IT to the Central Illinois region. Has a lot on his plate. He does a lot, and we make fun of him, but we love him. Don Shafer.
I fully expected to get thrown under the bus, but not from John. Just a side note, I met John when my wife was first teaching in Peoria. Her first job in Peoria as a teacher was at Manual High School, and John was there at that time. And got some great stories out of John about other people at the school. Again, thank you for the opportunity to present on this. I can give you a little bit of background. I'm also going to warn you. I do an elevator pitch with this. My elevator pitch goes about 52 floors. So I've already told Ashley that if I get too windy and long, pull the hook, get me out of here, and you know, if I see people scooting intentionally, I'll know that I need to cut it down. The IT Workforce Accelerator, as John mentioned, this was a federal grant that was received in September of 2022 by a consortium of Illinois Central College, Bradley University, and Eureka College. And I'm supposed to be doing this. But it goes back a little bit further than that. Actually, the Economic Development Administration of the Federal Department of Commerce put out a request for proposals back in late 2021. And it was for $500 million to be awarded for training in various sectors of the economy. The three higher ed institutions got together with the business community and said, okay, what do we need a centralized effort and training on? And the overwhelming answer was information technology, IT. So they put together a proposal, submitted that proposal, found out that they were one of over 500 proposals that were submitted. I think I was not part of that group at the time. I was still doing the banking thing. But the response was, well, we tried. And then in August of 2022, they were informed, you've been awarded, you're one of 32 to be awarded in that 500 million. So 32, one of 32 out of 500 plus. One of only 2 community colleges that was awarded. So it was quite a deal that they put together. And then I was asked to come and join the program in October of 2022. And Dr. Cork Bailey's not in the audience, so I can say this. About 2 weeks after I joined the program, I met with her and I said, what you sold me is not what I bought. It was a little bit different than what I thought I was going to do, which was all you got to do is go talk to the business community and everything else will be taken care of. Yeah, so that's one of the first things I learned about higher education was you don't necessarily get told the actual truth. You just get strung along and told to what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, tell me that.
Yeah, really. Scott, feel free to repeat that because I've said it numerous times. Again, this was a federal grant that originally was written for 3 years. We were given a no-cost extension to May of 2026 with the grant. It was supposed to end in August of 2025. A no-cost extension means you don't get any more money, you just get more time. So we took it and we ran with it. We've got a goal of 1,000 jobs to be retained or hired during that time period of the grant. The training, that extension to May of 26, really allows us to do the training throughout this year. We were going to have to cut it off probably mid-year or earlier if we didn't get that extension. And then the last couple of months of the grant in early 2026 will be spent with reporting for the federal government and for getting people hired into jobs after they've completed training. The grant itself pays for the tuition, books, and fees. There's no cost to the individuals that are participating, and no cost to the businesses that decide that they want to utilize the program to upskill their existing workforce. We targeted the universe. We targeted underemployed or unemployed individuals that were looking to get a job in IT. We targeted incumbent workers, individuals that were at companies wanting to gain additional skills that their company needed in order for them to retain that job. And we also use an existing program at Illinois Central College called the Workforce Equity Program. And Workforce Equity is individuals of poverty that have never had anything beyond a GED or a high school diploma, that if they income qualify, they'll receive a stipend for attending class, and they get trained in IT fundamentals and CompTIA A+, with the idea that they can get help desk jobs, help desk support jobs at various companies in the area. And of course, the other part of it is those newly skilled workers, they get promotions. We can then backfill those positions with new people coming out of the program. So it's a win for the businesses, it's a win for the participants. The only requirements we've got, the individual has to have a GED or a high school diploma, as I mentioned. Participants must live or work in Central Illinois, which we define very roughly as 45-mile radius, although it's really defined by counties. It's the ICC 10-county region along with the Economic Development Council's region as well. So we incorporate all those into that territory. Participants either must be providing IT support for companies or working for a company that is located in the region, or if they're a remote worker, for example, they work for a company that's not in the region, but they live here, they qualify. Or their company is here and they live elsewhere, they qualify. And the completion of the certificate or a certification or a micro-credential, we insist that the companies use that as a reason to provide some form of financial reward or employment reward for the individuals who are coming through the program. And everybody that we've surveyed about that has indicated that that's exactly what they do with it. The training is the 3 institutions. ICC is doing what I call the traditional IT training in programming, networking, CompTIA stackable credentials, Microsoft and Google certifications, IBM mainframe computer, which I think everybody thought COBOL was gone. There's a huge demand for individuals that have IBM mainframe system training. Database, we added CNC programming. We added 3D CAD Revit, which has gotten all of a sudden in the last 2 weeks extremely popular with a lot of the engineering firms, architectural firms, and construction firms, road construction firms. Bradley started out with healthcare IT and then added in some web design, some other programming, and some other IT-related situations. Eureka College focusing on a cybersecurity certification program, as well as some essential skills for the workplace for IT. All of this is IT related. It's not necessarily in an IT department of a company, because IT literally crosses every single department of every single company. I was talking with somebody from a Chamber of Commerce outside of this area this morning, and they said, well, we've got people that, you know, they're mom and pop businesses, 2 or 3 people. Will this apply to them? And I said, do they do any marketing? Do they do any web? Do they have a web page, whatever. They can learn all that through this program at no cost and be able to upgrade their business with something like that. We've also continued to monitor the program. When we first started out, we had a list of about a dozen courses that we were offering at the time. And when I went out to the business community, they said, yeah, that's fine, but we need this, 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 and this. We need Python, we need R, we need Linux. We were fortunate to get individuals from the community, one of which is here, to teach some of those programming languages to the companies. And we actually went out to companies with laptop computers because their IT departments wouldn't let us load the training software onto their computers, and took them out there and trained cohorts of people. And we've continued to do that kind of training. We had recent additions of different types of programs and there as a result of companies asking for it. We had a company ask if we could do ITIL V4. I said, I don't know, what is it? And we researched it. We have a very strong corporate community education area at ICC. They found the training, we offered it, and the company signed up 50 people right off the bat. And then we had other companies that we offered it to that have started utilizing it. We had another company that asked for some kind of a core program. Google AI, CompTIA A+, and CompTIA Security Plus. Their people are master programmers. They're people with master's degrees or high-level bachelor's degrees that are doing programming in an international company. But the owner of the company said they don't understand how it gets from here to there. They don't have any of the basics of computers. They don't have any of the basics of AI. They have no idea what the basic security model is. So we developed that. They said, yep, go for it. And we've got them coming into training, and that's on the schedule now for starting in February. So results to date, this is kind of the fun part. We are far exceeding our enrollment targets. We thought initially there'd be about 1,600 people enroll in the program over the 3 years of the grant. At last time we measured, which was the end of September, we're in the process of finalizing our December numbers. We had over 2,300 people that had registered, enrolled in courses. We are exceeding our completion targets, again, due to that high enrollment. We thought we'd have about 1,200 completions. We're in excess of that already. And 50% of our job target, that 1,000 jobs, we're at 50% of it. I expect that when we get the December numbers, we'll be above that as well. We've got a career services coordinator that's built into the grant that works with individuals coming through the program, whether they are people from the community coming through the program, whether they are academic students coming through the program, to help them find jobs. And we also have done some job fairs, 3 of them so far. Our next one's April 1st. No fool, it really is. And we've had individuals hired straight out of those job fairs as well. So those are some of our successes. We also provide what are called wraparound services for members of the participants in the grant, not just those individuals of poverty that are getting things like bus passes and child care support, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but job coaching, mental health services, career closet, mentoring, basic computer skills. We have community-based organizations that have partnered with us on these to be able to provide those to individuals in the community. I mentioned the transportation and childcare. Childcare is the biggest challenge, mainly because the individuals that need it, they're taking courses at night, and there's not childcare available after hours. And even for the ones that are taking courses during the day, there's not childcare available during the day. There's just no openings, and there's not enough childcare openings within the region. We really emphasize the value of that certificate and the certification and the job-ready skills that people are getting. We created a centralized website called the IT Workforce Accelerator.org. There's that website is our central landing spot. It has the link to the schedule. It's updated almost daily. We have all the classes listed. Somebody can click on a class and it'll go straight to a description of that course. More importantly, it'll tell them what skill sets they're going to learn. And from the business standpoint, what skill sets that individual is going to come out with. We have a register button. Unfortunately, we've got 2 register buttons. When we first developed the website, we were told, well, you need a register button higher up on it so when people are looking on their phones, they see it. Well, there's also one further down. So Registrations come to me, the number of times that I see the same person registered twice, and I know that they've gone in and they've hit the both buttons because they figure they have to. There's 2 register buttons. And they can also request information by email or phone. That comes to me. We respond to those within 24 hours. Those registrations, we send those over to the individuals that register people into courses. They get a response the same way, 24 to 48 hours. They can be registered into a course. We've even had individuals register for courses the day that they're starting. So we can accommodate that. I mentioned earlier emphasizing the value of the certificate and certification. We have done a tremendous amount of business outreach, as you can imagine, with my background. We've contacted well over 270 businesses in the region over the last couple of years, 2.5 years, and continue to expand that outreach into the business community, because there isn't a week go by that I don't hear from somebody that says, I didn't know this program even existed. And you kind of go, man, what have we been doing marketing-wise for the last 2 years? Just a mention on that. One of the things we found out early on, after about 1.5 years, actually, was people were not just Googling free IT training. They were Googling IT Workforce Accelerator. So we created a brand within 1.5 years of that people were going to specifically for that. So that was quite an achievement that our marketing company that we were working with was really amazed that we had managed to get that in such a short time frame. We're doing the upskilling, as I mentioned before, for retention and hiring needs of businesses. One thing that I learned about IT, the skills change after a couple of years. I know Matt can probably speak to that, but individuals that have learned something 2-5 years ago, you've got individuals that have been in a company for a long time. They're upgraded, they're upskilled, they know what they're doing. But one of the other things we found out was that the customers of some of those companies were saying, well, what certifications do your folks have? And coming to us then and saying, this person's been doing it for 10-15 years, but now our customers are saying, we need you to see that they've got certifications and that we can provide them that certification process at no cost to the business to do that. We do a lot of customized training. I mentioned the situation where we went out to the business and did the training at their business. We've done that a number of different times with different programs. Boot camp style, taking it from a 12-week program to a 6-week program at the company, or a 6-week program with a cohort of individuals in the same classroom, if you will, or same online class. We're really looking to grow that pipeline of learners for the community. And one of the things that was a challenge early on, and it's still a challenge, is companies that insist that individuals have to have a bachelor's degree or higher for an entry-level position. 2 things that helped change that. The first one was really surprising. In mid-summer, the federal government announced that they were changing the requirements for IT positions that would be hired in the federal government, eliminating that bachelor's degree requirement as of January this year. The other was Caterpillar, who did the same thing. They eliminated that bachelor's degree requirement within the IT area. And it was pretty amazing. I was on a call with individual we work with at Caterpillar on our secure software apprenticeship program. And he said, hey, just a heads up, I was in a meeting with all of the IT folks from around the world yesterday, and they announced this elimination of that bachelor's degree requirement. So a real boost, I think, not only for the region, but for the IT area as well. Again, what we're defining as success, the relationships with the business community that initiated when the grant application was written. Those 40 companies that were provided letters of support was really the core for what's become the 270 that we've had conversations with since then. And that consistent outreach and finding out from them, what do you need, and then fulfilling that need and the different ways that we're doing training. I set up an IT advisory council. I've got 11 companies in an IT advisory council. We meet monthly, and we take their input to create those new certification courses to be trained within the region. We were also pleased to be able to host what was called Mindshare Midwest. This was last August. It was at ICC. It was sponsored by an IT partner of ours, Tada, as well as the Easter Seals Passage to India group. And there were about 100 people in attendance. We had a breakfast and breakout sessions. Thanks to Sashad Riguha at Tada, we had some of the greatest speakers you could ever imagine in these sessions, including somebody who was a venture cap guy from California, who was the only one online. Everybody else came from elsewhere in the country to participate in this. And it was all focused on AI. And some great discussions and some great follow-up conversations that we were able to get, and some great participation in our program as a result of it. I mentioned the flexibility of our corporate and community education side to provide rapid turnaround on those new curriculums we've developed. Very strong CBO partners. Our strongest is probably Goodwill, which is, I'm sure, no surprise to anybody, but we've also got Tri-County Urban League. We've got METEC. We have Center for Youth and Family Solutions, and we have, I'm missing somebody. Oh, Minority Business Development Center. All of them are CBO partners of ours in the grant, and with Minority Business Development doing training. We follow up with those registrations. Both the ones that contact us to make sure we get them registered, and the ones that register to follow their progress and make sure that they complete, because it's not a registration grant, it's not a completion grant, it's a jobs grant. So we got to get them out there and into the workforce as quickly as we can after they complete a certificate. We've done a lot of process improvement. I've got somebody who works with me in the grant who is a self-professed data nerd, as well as a policy wonk, and he does all of that and enjoys it. Thank God, because I don't. He basically will come to me and say, hey, do you think we should write a policy on this? I say, absolutely. He writes policy, and I said, good job. So our offer to the participating businesses that we work with, and to individuals, quite frankly, is enhance the IT skills of your current workforce. Let us help you with that through a no-cost training aspect. The company benefits from that training. Employees benefit by growing their skills. Something I want to add in here is the companies that offer this throughout their company are the most successful. And that's because, as I had one company owner tell me, he said, I've got an IT department that I want to use this with, but I want to offer it as an employee benefit to my entire organization. Because you never know, the person that's doing this job, has been doing this job for 5 years, comes in every day and doing that job, but it's not an IT related job, who's always wanted the chance to go into IT. Now you've built your bench. Now you've started that process of moving people up through the organization. And that owner even said, even if I lose a person, because they get the training and go someplace else, they know that they got that opportunity because of our company. And it will always reflect positively on that company. So we encourage companies, don't just offer it through the IT area. A lot of people can benefit from this, and your organization will definitely benefit from building a bench. Filling those new and existing IT positions with skilled individuals that are coming out with that skill set that's right there in black and white on our website. And we're also encouraging paid internships and apprenticeships, which leads me to tomorrow morning. There's going to be a press conference at ICC. We're going to talk about the results of this grant, but we're also going to be announcing that we were recently awarded a second round funding from the EDA. They had $25 million, that not quite 500, but 25 million this time. They put out an RFP. We responded. There were over 100 applications. We're one of 8 awardees. Again, the only community college in this case. And it's to basically create a sustainability factor within this grant so that we can continue it after all these types of grant fundings, should they ever end, which we know they will, a way for this to be a sustainable process within the region, so that we can continue in some form or another to offer this kind of training and continue to build the IT side of things here in the Peoria region. That's it. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions if they aren't difficult. Bob, you're not allowed to ask. Okay, good.
Thank you. That was fantastic, and exciting that something that makes so much sense actually was passed, and society can benefit from it. Did you say there was a limit, or how you qualified for this? Was there an income? No.
No,
Okay.
there's not an income consideration. The only income consideration is for those individuals that are in that workforce equity program,
Okay.
that if they are to get a stipend, they have to be under a certain poverty level income in order to qualify for the stipend. But we have individuals in the workforce equity stipend that do not receive stipends. They're in that program, but they aren't receiving stipends, but they're still part of that workforce equity impact that we're looking at, primarily focused on the 61605 zip code.
Yeah, I have 7 grandchildren. Some of the boys could use some of that learning, so thank you again.
Thanks, Don. This is really interesting to hear, and congrats on the second award. I'm curious, related to childcare, is there any movement afoot to address that? Familiar with other communities that even offer nighttime childcare?
It's interesting. We have twice a month meetings with all 32 grant recipients and the EDA. So there's 100 and some people on a Teams call. Every single grant awardee, all 32 of them, have indicated that this is their biggest challenge. From my standpoint, from personal standpoint, I think there's a resolution to it. I've tried to reach out to some federal offices with a suggestion around a fix that was done for student debt a few years back, involving an IRS approval letter for allowing 401k contributions to go to student debt as opposed to a 401k account. And then that individual would still have the 401k. They could still make their contribution, but the employer contribution, a non-taxable contribution that went to their student debt as opposed to their 401k. The same thing could be done with childcare, because it'll create a series of dollars to be able to fund that, as opposed to it coming out of somebody's pocket post-tax as opposed to pre-tax, and still keep people active in the retirement system. But so far, I haven't gotten an audience. If anybody can give me an audience, I'd appreciate it. So, Scott?
Sent the message to a friend. Where do I start? How do I get going in this?
itworkforceaccelerator.org. The website, you can go right to it. You can look at the courses. You can look at the schedule. You can even put, when you go to register, it says, what course do you want? You can put, I don't know. And Lisa Polnitz from Corporate Community Ed will get back to you and say, what's your interest? Where do you want to see yourselves? And let's get you started. Are you looking for a help desk job? Let's get you started in IT fundamentals and A+.
Don, this is awesome. Thanks for sharing this with us. Obviously, it's fantastic to hear these things. Tell us about some of your better success stories with some of your folks, please.
We're actually going to have one of those success stories speaking at that press conference tomorrow. But 2 individuals that went through the program that got hired by Hart Technologies. One of them is going to be speaking tomorrow. He was one of those workforce equity initiative students who started out in A+, and then, or excuse me, in IT fundamentals and then A+, and got a job in IT. I've had individuals that were unemployed. A young lady who was unemployed got a job after her first certificate with an IT consulting company. She just got accepted into the Caterpillar Secure Software Apprenticeship Program. So she went boom, boom, boom. By the way, she's continued at her new employer, her old employer, I should say now. She continued to take courses through us so she could bump her skills up. That's what got her the CATS Secure Software Apprenticeship. Others that have done the same thing. I had somebody that went from unemployed to where they're now making, I'll say at least $75,000 as a data analyst. And they were unemployed, started the program, took various different kinds of certificate courses and got to that level. So we've got a lot of great success stories. I'm a numbers guy, so, my focus is look at the numbers, but at the same time, we've got, and that's the one thing I didn't mention, we've got testimonials on the website too. So you can read about that young man that went and is now at Hart Technologies, working for them. You can read about some of the other ones. That one that I said that got her initial job in IT, she's in there. We've got business testimonials from businesses that have had people come through and either hired or upskilled people, and the testimonials from them. So Scott, you only get one.
Tough. How'd you go from opening checking accounts to this job?
Remember
My
that,
wife.
remember that comment I made about buying something that wasn't what you, or you got sold something that wasn't what you bought? That's how I got there.
I actually thought my wife got you that job. That's what she told me.
Then she's to blame.
Just a quick comment. Years ago, meeting Don and Mike O'Brien and I needed a loan and we went to him and he gave it to us. And then when we paid it off, he fell off his chair.
They always say you never make a bad loan. That was one where I was pretty sure I made a bad loan.